We are being raised in ways where we're being exposed to a lot of sexual things at such a young age. The foundation is cracked. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on this fine, beautiful morning, but whenever you choose to join me. Morning, afternoon, nighttime, late at night, evening, it doesn't matter. I appreciate the likes, the looks, the listens, and of course, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe and notification bell on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone, and of course, do that if you want to. No pressure at all. And if you want to, hit the like button as well. In this current climate of so much divisiveness that we see all over the place, the good thing is that a lot of people see things for what they are, and a lot of people are trying to call out the status quo and the destructive things and practices out, but they're always leaving a tremendous piece to it. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about is what everyone's been talking about is the whole red pill movement, what was, I guess, used to be called MGTOW, men going their own way and everything. This is in response to a lot of the strong feminist established energies that's been going on, that's been pinpointed as of late in recent time to help the destruction of our society. Of course, I'm a dude. I'm going to have my own opinion and my own experiences, but I'm going to have a lot of factual things that I've gone through myself, things that I've observed, things that I've studied, and looking at the whole picture, not just narrow it down to my own experiences. Now, understandably, it's coming to the point where you have a lot of people who have come into recent notoriety. You have people like Adam Tate, who just passed away, Kevin Samuels. You have so much people who are looking to hold women accountable. But the problem is, especially in this country, we love to talk and we love to try to exacerbate someone else based on what we're feeling without looking at the whole picture. It's been happening with so much things. It happens with racism, happens with the gender wars, happens with classism, it happens with everything you could possibly think of, everything that's been politically and socially charged. Now, I've talked about this plenty of times in the past on my production of my podcast about the whole issue with men and women. The thing is, a lot of men just need to just step up. And I'm not going to just say it in a cold, callous manner, because usually when I do hear it, it's usually in a cold and callous, non-teaching, non-compassionate manner. And that's where the first issue is. As you know, I like to follow, I look to follow Yeshua Elohim, which everyone should be. So when we do address things, we need to address not just for the sake of correction, not just for keeping it a buck, not just for the sake of, truth hurts. We're not supposed to go through like that. Sometimes, yes. I'm not saying that it's not necessary. I'm not saying that that is not the way at times. But usually, we need to have that proper respect to understand what the issue is and then also look to provide a proper resolve for the issue. Now, when I say that men need to step up, we have to look at why it seems like that, what are we stepping up from? That means we're down somewhere. We're down a level that we shouldn't be in. How do we get there? I'm glad you asked. There's a lot of things that's been happening where people just aren't disciplined. And when we have a common practice, especially in a social structure in society, when people, especially in this country that has everything, that everyone's eyes are focused on this country, and then this country in turn helps to influence other people. Not saying other countries have this heavily, but they may have similar things or things that have been derived from watching us. And again, it's not just this country. It's something that has been happening for a long time all over the place. So when men need to step up, they need to step up from this position that they've been put down in. There's been a lot of agendas that's been looking to destroy the family unit, because you do not have a strong family unit. You cannot possibly have strong communities. You cannot have strong cities or counties. You cannot have strong states. In this country, you cannot have a strong country, because now people are just basically living how they want to based on how they feel. Not logic, not having any kind of discipline or control over their feelings and emotions. They're just letting their feelings and emotions run wild, which is why you see so much repercussions for it right now. So when I talk about looking at the book, the Bible, a lot of people people would automatically look to argue, well, I don't trust the Bible because it's been written by men. Meanwhile, in the same breath, these same people who would say that they don't subscribe to the Bible, they would go turn around and go look at content, whether publications or videos or whatever. They look at content produced by who? By other men and women. Isn't that just ironic hypocrisy right there? That's foolishness. You have to put your pride away and look at certain things. What men have to realize is that we have been compromised, unfortunately. I've talked about it plenty of times in the past, especially this country. Not just this country, but I speak from experience from this country and things I've seen in other countries. But here we are oversaturated in hypersexuality. It's ridiculous. And then when we have people who would quick to point the finger, what's wrong with you guys? Well, we have to understand, how do we get there in the first place? Were we set up to fail, or were we set up for success? We have to understand that a lot of men and women, usually men, aren't included in this. Little by little, I'm seeing a little bit more recognition, but women is usually, unfortunately, it happens, but a lot of women are usually the ones who are identified as victims of, sexual assault and abuse. We don't talk about when it happens to boys. We really don't talk about it when this happens to boys, and we don't understand how this affects the psyche, the mind, the ego, the drives, the goals of young men. And it's young men who are needed to be foundationally secure so that they can be men, the men who are needed to be the foundation for households and communities. Now, if we have men who are being raised, unfortunately, you can see single parent households, or we are being raised in ways where we're being exposed to a lot of sexual things at such a young age. The foundation is cracked. Already, it's a done deal if we don't identify these things. And unfortunately, we have agendas that also promoted single mother households. It is what it is. You have to look at everything. I'm not going to base this on feelings, but you have to see for what it is. How are we set up for failure? We have to understand all these things that were put into place to help destroy. And now, again, the same people who would want to hold men accountable and even women accountable for being destructive and not having a strong family will be the same groups of people that are promoting a destroyed and non-structured household. You have to look at everything of what's going on, all the agendas being pushed. This is not the traditional family that's needed for a proper nation to thrive. That's not based on feelings, but it's based on what has been proven and tried and true. Just because there are people that do not take the responsibilities properly. There's a lot of men who do run around, and I'm not going to lie, that life was attractive to me when I was younger. The problem with that is, people will say that men are made to spread their seed. Okay, cool, fine. You can say that. We are made differently from women. We definitely are. But how does that help anything? How does that exactly help the situation that we're in now? If anything, that will make the situation way worse, and this is why we got here in the first place. Sure, you can spread your seed all over the place, but are you there as a definite, needed, authoritative figure and mentor for those children? You sowed your wild oats. I got it. You conquered many women, bad chicks that you set your sights on. I got it. What about that child? Now you have a new human on this earth that needs guidance. You need a new human on this earth that doesn't need the examples portrayed before them, that growing up in a broken household is normal. Growing up in a household without the father there is normal. Growing up in a household with the mother having another relationship with another man, having a broken household where they see the mother pushing the father out is normal. You have to understand, because we can do something doesn't mean we're supposed to be doing it. We need to have the proper mindset to have fathers in their children's lives. And I get it, unfortunately, because of all these things happening. A lot of men are not around their children, whether it's by choice or by force from the mother and or the help of the government and the social practices. However you can. I know some men cannot, unfortunately, legally. But if you can, I believe a majority of fathers can. Even if you're not living in the same household, speak to your children, talk to your children, establish your children's character. The thing is, though, we have to understand we have to establish our character too. We can't just wake up and go to work and have fun and hang out. You have to be about your purpose. You have to understand what you like to do, what you are good at. and you have to pursue these things that you were driven to do, things that are productive, not illegal things, not idleness, things that are productive. It could be a vast array of things. It could be something that you do at work. It could be something that you do in your pastime, something that you are good at. You pursue it because that is that thing that's been put inside of you from our Creator to help advance you the way that you can be advanced, and by you becoming more into yourself, coming into yourself, whatever your passion is, whatever your drive is. By you becoming better, you put yourself out there. And by you putting yourself out there, other people will look at you and they'll receive you based on what you're good at. Because when people admire when someone is good at something, when someone is naturally talented at something, and they're displaying it, and they can see that they've been putting the work in, that does something, an interaction to help inspire others. That interaction and engagement when they see someone in themselves and they're confident, not cocky, not arrogant. You can have pride, but then when you have now ignorance with things, you can have pride in what you do, but don't take it to the extreme. That's the problem. Again, like I said, we have to have discipline over our feeling. Men have to be there. They have to be there to be the foundation. Yeah, the people want the traditional things to happen. They want men to be the provider and everything, but then we push men out. And since I've been growing up, I'm not going to lie, there's been a lot of complaints about men. I grew up hearing about it. I've seen men getting put down. I've seen men displayed in a very low manner in media. They've been pushing that stuff. Media entertainment is made to program you, made to steer the narrative. What's new to me is seeing people looking like they are now, understanding what men are going through. Men have to understand why we are in this position and how to get ourselves out of it. We can't look at these people who are on social media now and going off their own understanding. You can't do that. You have to go with the source of life, with Elohim. He wants us to have a proper household. He wants men to be men and women to be women. The unfortunate part is women think that being a housewife is demeaning. To be a helper. The thing is, we look at that term helper as a derogatory term. I will see women in the house. So let's say you have a housewife, a man who's providing, and a woman who's actually helping, whether she has a job or not. That's like a project manager to me. Project management, you have to now quantify all the resources that's needed for a household to run. You need to know your talent, your people, your personnel, your family. You have to know their strengths and your weaknesses. You have to now be able to tie all that stuff together. You have to make up, schedules, keep the maintenance up. It's a lot of work. But see, if the household is proper, if the man is there the way he's supposed to, and then the woman is there the way he's supposed to, guess what? It's going to work. It's going to work. It's only until people go off of their own understanding. When people don't understand their roles, that's when things get to shift. That's when things get broken, and that's where people get frustrated. A man may get frustrated with the woman because she may not seem to want to submit enough, and I know that's a taboo word, unfortunately. And then a woman may be upset when the man isn't there in his position. So then we're going to have a battle. You're going to have a power struggle. You're going to have something lacking. You're going to have a vacuum. And if a man isn't there, the vacuum is there. A woman is not a man. A woman cannot raise a child the way a man is supposed to and can. She could raise, and a lot of people came up properly, but think of how much more they would have been better if the man was there properly. We have to understand the destructive agendas with the feminist thing, with pushing the men out, with the hypersexuality, with promoting this stuff, this machismo thing. You could be macho, but be macho in your home. Be the man in your home. Don't be spreading your seed all over the place. Don't go out to see who you can conquer and then leave the woman cold flat, especially if you have a child. You have to be there. You have to be part of the solution. Even if you are in a broken household, you still have the choice to fix things. Anyway, that's all I got. You want to hear more of my content and more productions, you could go to my website at brooklynbaritone.com. You can also see more of my media, video content at my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. I'm also on LinkedIn under Corey Ashley. I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook. You can get the audio versions of these podcasts on Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Apple iTunes with the podcasts. I also air 4 times a week, 2 days at 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. on local Brooklyn cable television. So on Verizon, Optimum, RCN, and Spectrum. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully, if anything, I didn't just become another voice in the noise. I hope that you could have, learned something a little bit more. Anyways, be good, be blessed. You hear from me